Hey everybody, let's do a layout expansion update today and talk a little bit more about the turntable and the roundhouse. Let's talk about the track work. I've got this done. Basically the inside radius is about 11 inches, the outside is 13 inches. So, about double that for HO scale, be 22 and 26. It's fairly sharp turns, but I mean, I'm only running 4-axle diesels on it. Again, this is going to be the yard lead here. So come out, this is the start, main lines in the back. This is the start of the ladder for the yard right there. So I've got a crossover there. I have a crossover at the other end. I have operated trains on it. Don't have any wiring done yet, but I have running a train on it, just using the wiring from basically where I soldered the joints there, and everything runs fine all the way through it. I have not decided what I'm going to do in the back yet. There's a street that was on the opposite side of the N&W tracks called Sugar Street. There's a bunch of houses in it. I may try to make that sort of a residential, just flats. It's not going to be, full-size houses, but I may make it sort of a flats up against the backdrop around to, like, I guess where the yard is. And of course the roundhouse is going to sit right in here. It's going to block, a lot of that. It's going to block most of that sharp curve. Wish I could have done a little bit wider curve. But like I said, when you're building onto a room that's already there, sometimes you're limited. I wasn't certainly going to move Chillicothe, because if I did that, I would have had to mess up the creek scene at the other end. So that's what it is. But again, everything runs fine, and with my 4-axle diesels, I don't anticipate any operational problems in it. Most of those are going to be hidden, so I think it will be okay. Because, I run slow speed switching. I may try to get an Amtrak train. They had an Amtrak train. I'll put a picture of it in here, right here. It's called the Shenandoah, and it ran across Southern Ohio on the old B&O till 1981. And that's right in my time frame. So they actually had a little passenger shed. They didn't use the depot anymore. The Chillicothe depot, they had a passenger waiting shed there. So again, I'll throw a couple of pictures I found online of it, but I may actually get, F40PH Amtrak and, a couple of Amtrak passenger cars, 3 or 4 to, at least for photo ops anyhow, to run some train. Now, the passenger cars on that, they would never be on the inside curve. They'd always be on the outside curve, but that's still, I might have to watch the overhang there if I ever tried to run 2 trains at once. But, yes, that's where I'm at. So let's talk about the turntable and roundhouse now. Let's talk about the turntable. I don't know how big the turntable was in Chillicothe. I imagine it's something like 90 feet, 100 feet. Again, articulated locomotives didn't operate in Chillicothe on the B&O. I know it would hold probably a Mikado. That was the biggest locomotive they probably had in Chillicothe. But anyhow, I'm going to use the Pico turntable, which scales out to be 73 feet. A little bit too small, but we selectively compress a lot of our buildings anyhow. So I'm going to use it. These are 3 pictures that I took. This is the turntable pit from the side. One thing I want to point out is this A-frame, well, not really an A-frame, but the structure here, which in the wires coming in from the top. So I'm going to have to model that. The Pico turntable does not have that. This is the turntable pit, and you can see that frame right here. Move that, try to get the reflection off a little bit. You can see that frame, so I'm going to scratch build that, and then around to the side is the control stand. And so that sat on a little box out to the side of the turntable. and rotate it around with it. So this is what I have gotten so far. I've got the one side railing on, weathered it, painted it, and weathered it. Weathered the deck. Got the rails in it. The rails are just going to be solid rust. It is not going to be operational. Never planned for it to be operational, but that's what I'm going to do. Now this other side I don't have the railing on because I'm going to have to cut it out and scratch build this and glue a little platform on down on this end. I guess it'd be on this end down here. I have to glue a little platform on to the control stand. I'm going to Huntsville, Alabama in a couple weeks. Well, for the end of this week for 2 weeks, and I'll have some time in the hotel room to work on that. You can see the turntable pit. It's pretty nasty down in there. So I've started weathering it. I'm going to make it a lot more than that. The B&O, the turntable B&O had the ring was actually sitting on real short little wood ties. The Pico table does not have that. It's just like it's sitting on concrete. I did weather the rail. It's been rusty. But I'm going to make this a lot grungier, sort of to match the picture. Now, it was still being used, so I'm not going to like have a bunch of crap down in there that would, you know, maybe interfere with the turntable operation, but I will. It's going to look a lot worse. I haven't done anything on the roundhouse. I may work on these doors when I'm down in Alabama. Again, I'm going to make. You can see they weren't. This door has actually been cut down. Like maybe all they could put in it was a pickup truck or, you know, some maintenance away equipment. This one obviously is no longer a door. It just has a window in it. So I've only got 3 stalls. I can't do all this, but I'll probably have one of them be windows, be completely closed in. Maybe cut another one down and have this vent up the top, and then have the third door be operational, so to speak, even though I'm not going to operate it. One thing that's going to be a challenge is this concrete weathering. I've been like looking on YouTube videos how to weather that concrete because I think that looks pretty cool. So that's where I'm at on the turntable. Again, I haven't done anything on the roundhouse since I showed it to you. I need to get some 0.100 styrene to make the base for it, because that is basically about what the lip is on this turntable, and so it will just kind of, you know, curve right around it, and I need to figure out how far away the turntable is going to be from the front of the roundhouse to make the stalls line up. So you guys can tell me if I'm overthinking this or not. So I need to have the turntable line up with the tracks. So this is a Pico turntable Atlas roundhouse. You see this curve doesn't match. So right now, if this track here is lined up and I turn the table, you can see that that is not going to line up. It's at an angle. I mean, it's just definitely, I don't know what it is, 10 degree, 15 degree angle. Same way with this. So what I have to do is figure out where to move the roundhouse back so all 3 tracks are lined up. Even though I'm not going to use it, it would look kind of funny if they weren't lined up. So I'm going to play with this. It's just a scrap piece of foam I've got in the garage that I've recessed the turntable into. Once I know where this distance is, I'll know how far out to put the turntable and I can locate everything. So let me mess around with it off camera, and then I'll show you what I came up with. So it looks like if I put the turntable this far away from the edge of the roundhouse, because I'm not going to use that base, but I'm still going to use a piece of styrene cut to the same shape as that base, because I've got to line up with the doors and everything. So this track looks pretty good to me. Straight track there. I rotate the table to the center. Don't see anything wrong there. And when I come around here, So that looks pretty good. So I know that when I put it in, because once I cut the hole in the foam for the turntable, I'm pretty much done. I mean, I have to, yeah. Oh, there's Norfolk Southern train going by. You know, that's going to locate the roundhouse. So this will help me when I'm cutting the hole for the turntable, and maybe the next time I do a layout update, you'll see the turntable in place. Hoping I get some styrene and work on this when I'm down in Alabama, but the roundhouse is kind of a big building to take with me. I don't know if I have a box that big to hold it, so we'll see if I may just work on the turntable when I'm down there. So anyhow, that's my update for this time. Appreciate everybody watching, and we'll have an operations video on Saturday. Stay safe.